I do overnight maintenance in a 9-story apartment building downtown, the kind built in the 70s with a stairwell nobody uses because the elevator works fine. My job between midnight and 8 is simple: walk the stairwell floor by floor, check the fire door sealed properly, replace bulbs, log anything broken. I've done this for a year and a half. I'm telling you this now because 3 weeks ago I started keeping a written log of things that aren't part of my job, and I think I need to say them out loud to someone before I stop believing my own notebook. The stairwell has 9 landings, one per floor, plus the ground floor exit. I know this because I have walked it probably 400 times. 9 landings. On a Tuesday night in early June, I was walking up between the fourth and fifth floor and I stopped because there was a landing there that I did not remember being there. A half flight, maybe 6 steps, ending in a door with no number on it. I want to be clear that I was not tired. I was not distracted. I had walked that exact stretch of stairs 20 minutes earlier on my way down, and there were 7 steps between 4 and 5. No landing, no door. I stood in front of that door for a long time. I did not open it. I finished my rounds and went home and told myself I'd miscounted. I went back the next night specifically to check. 7 steps, floor 4 to floor 5, no landing, exactly like it's supposed to be. I felt stupid. I almost didn't write it down. It happened again 11 days later. Same stretch of stairs, same half flight, same unmarked door, except this time I timed it, because some instinct told me to check my watch. It was there at 12:51 a.m. I climbed back down to the lobby, checked the mailroom, came back up 8 minutes later, and the extra landing was gone. 7 steps, nothing between them. I have a note in my phone with the exact times because I did not trust myself to remember them accurately, and I needed to know I wasn't inventing this. After that, I started counting every single night, out loud, under my breath, so I couldn't lose count without noticing. Most nights, 7 steps, nothing unusual. But roughly once a week, always somewhere between midnight and 2, the landing is there. I've started calling it 4.5 in my own head, which I know is a strange thing to name something you're afraid of, but it made it easier to write about. 2 weeks ago, I finally worked up the nerve to touch the door instead of just looking at it. It's cold, colder than the stairwell around it, and it's not locked. There's no handle, just a push plate, like a fire door. I put my hand on it and did not push. I stood there for what my phone says was 4 minutes, and I could hear something on the other side. Not footsteps, not voices. It sounded like a hallway does when it's very quiet and very long, if that makes sense. The specific quality of silence you get in a big empty space, not the silence of the closet. I told the building super about it, carefully, without saying the word ghost or anything like that. I asked him if there was ever a fourth and a half floor, maybe converted, maybe sealed off decades ago. He laughed at first and then stopped laughing when he saw I was serious. He pulled up the original blueprints from 1974. 9 floors. No half floor, no mezzanine, nothing between 4 and 5 on any version of the plans he has, including the one filed with the city. He asked me if I had been drinking on shift. I told him no, and I meant it, and I don't think he believed me, but he didn't fire me either. Last Thursday, the landing was there again at 1:15 in the morning, and this time, before I could stop myself, I pushed the door open. I'm not going to describe what I saw in a lot of detail, partly because I only had it in view for about 2 seconds before I let the door swing shut, and partly because I found that the more I tried to describe it precisely, the less sure I've become of what I actually saw versus what my mind filled in afterward, and I don't want to lie to you by accident. What I can tell you honestly is this: it was a hallway. It was long, longer than the building is wide, which should be impossible, and it was lit the way hallways are lit in buildings from that era, evenly, a little yellow, humming fluorescent tubes every 10 feet or so as far as I could see. The carpet was a shade of green I don't think they make any more. And at the far end, past where the light started to fail, there was a door standing open, the only open door in the whole stretch that I could see, light spilling out of it in a way that suggested someone had just walked through it and left it that way behind them. I did not go in. I let the door swing shut, and I stood on the landing with my back against the wall for a long time, and then I walked down to the lobby and sat in the mail room until the sun came up, and I did not go back to my apartment that morning until it was fully light outside. I've thought about quitting. I probably should. But here's the thing that keeps me up during the day now instead of the night. Last week I mentioned the green carpet to an elderly resident on the third floor, an offhand comment, not expecting anything, and she went very quiet and told me the building used to have carpet exactly that color in the original hallways before a renovation in the 90s replaced it building wide. She's lived here since it opened. She said nobody talks about the fourth floor anymore, and when I asked her what she meant by that, she said she had somewhere to be and closed her door, and she has not made eye contact with me since. I still do my rounds. I still walk past 4.5 most nights and it isn't there, and I tell myself that's the more common outcome, that the odds are in my favor most of any given week. But I count the steps out loud every single time now, and some nights, when I get to 7 and the stairs just keep going up like they are supposed to, I don't feel relieved the way I used to. I feel like I'm being let through.